regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting. I want to welcome up Miss Crystal Howard, who's going to bring up two White Oak Elementary School students to do the pledge.
All right, hi, I'm Crystal Howard. I'm the principal at White Oak Elementary, and I have two of our Wildcats today. I have fourth grader Cullen Caraway. Cullen, if you'll come up. Cullen plays baseball, loves spending time outside, and is a great student. And we have fifth grader Biddy Foxworth. And Biddy loves America. Even from 4 years old, she memorized God Bless America. In second grade, Betsy Ross. She came in for her research project all dressed as her. So they're excited to be here tonight to lead the pledge.
Awesome.
Y'all ready? Everybody will stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone will remain standing.
Now, can I do the?
Hey, y'all gotta come big
You gotta
pictures,
come up
pictures.
here and get your
Yes,
certificate
pictures.
and flag pin. Here you go. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. All right, we'll let parents grab your pictures.
Good job, y'all.
If everyone will remain standing. Dear Lord, we thank you for the privilege to serve our schools and community. Guide our hearts and minds tonight as we work together to make decisions that impact our students, teachers, and families. Grant us wisdom, patience, and unity in our discussions, and help us to always act with compassion and integrity. May everything we do be for the good of those we serve. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
All right. Now I'm going to thank Mr. Travis Day and Mr. Dennis Goodwin for their service on the school board. Unfortunately, this is their last meeting.
Oh,
Where do we want to take these pictures? Here you go.
Thank you very much.
And then you have another little gift.
Oh, I thank you.
Of your board members, the system. Thank you. Yep. Do some pictures.
I'd rather do crab dip.
We're gonna do that next. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We'll let everybody have some comments at the end of the night.
Uh-oh.
That's good.
Oh, you thought you got away with it.
Uh-huh. It's like, that was painless.
Got 2 pages for y'all.
Oh,
It'll be a long night.
Do I need to look at it first? Pass it down.
all right. You're up next.
So this is a letter from Leanne Winter, who is the executive director of the NC School Boards Association. It reads, "Congratulations, I'm very pleased to present you with your school board Silver Bell Award for the whole board recognition. This honor is given to school boards when every member of the board has earned training credit during the previous academic year. The Bell Award is given at 2 levels. A gold bell is given when all members of the board have earned 12 or more hours of training between July 1, 2023 and June 30, 2024. A silver bell is given when all members of the board have earned some training during the same time period. I recognize that board service is a demanding role that requires time away from family and friends. However, this work enables every student to enjoy the educational opportunities provided by your district. Your work ensures the secure North Carolina for years to come. Thank you for your service. Please congratulate our school board for this accomplishment. So congratulations, there's a plaque, and you have another photo op.
Hey, another photo op.
Should we just keep standing here?
I think we might be done.
It looks like we got one more.
Oh, no, we're not. Oh, okay. Let's see here. So next up, I'd like to recognize our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, Ms. Jody McClenny. Are y'all coming up front?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Our Director of Teacher and Learning, Dr. Anna Brooks. The NCDPI Early Literacy Specialist, Dr. Carrie Stroud, and the District Instructional Coach, Amy Campbell. Oh, no, hold on.
Not so fast.
As the letter from State Superintendent Catherine Truitt stated, I want to congratulate you not only for completing the Science of Reading professional development, but also for standing out among your colleagues to receive the True Trailblazer Award. Your leadership and dedicated, uplifted colleagues through the shift to the science of reading with a positive attitude and determination. Thank you for your commitment to improving literacy outcomes for all of North Carolina students.
So, and I'll point out that there were only 8 school districts in North Carolina that received this recognition, and our team represented the whole southeast region of North Carolina, so it's a very distinguished award.
Right.
They'll be recognized on December 5th at the State Board of Education meeting.
Hey.
Good job.
I didn't know all this was Italian.
Short guy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Great job. All right, so moving right along, consider approval of the meeting agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
And I will second that.
So I've got a motion by Mr. Goodwin and a second by Mr. Jenkins. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All right. And now we're going to move into public comment. It is now time for public comment. Anyone present tonight wishing to make comment should have filled out a request to speak public comment form. To ensure civility, relevance, and time management, there are specific requirements for public comment set forth in school board policy. They include comments are limited to matters pertaining to public education. The speaker shall state his or her name at the beginning of his or her comment. Speaking time will be limited to 3 minutes per person. A 3-minute timer will appear on the TV screens in the bottom corner. The timer will beep when there are 30 seconds remaining. It will then beep a final time when your time is up. Thank you. For civility and decorum, no speaker shall make obscene remarks or issue personal attacks or insults. No complaint against a school employee or student shall be permitted, although this may be heard in closed session at a later date following consultation with the superintendent. Much information about individual students, including a speaker's own child, is confidential under state and federal law, and we discourage and often prohibit such information in open session. The chairperson may immediately terminate any comments that violate these rules. Board members will not respond to questions except occasionally to request clarification. With that introduction, our first speaker tonight is Jason Vincent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for your time. My name is Jason Van Zant. I'm an employee at Hammock Beach State Park. The division opened a new position called schools and park specialist, and that's what I am. My role is to work with 3rd through 5th grade teachers and to build a rapport with them, get to know their students, visit their schools, and then get the class outdoors to be comfortable working in the field. We lead group activities that all correlate with DPI standards, science, English language arts, math, the whole gamut. Once we've done a couple of visits at the school, teacher and I would get together and we plan trips for Hammock Beach State Park. This is all reimbursed by the Schools and Parks program. But that gives the students the ability to apply the activities we do on their campus at the park as well, and then use or have an experience of other things that we have to offer there as well. So the main goal is to get students and teachers to become comfortable being outdoors, and in order for them to learn from their natural surroundings and appreciate nature. So research helps support this, and I've added that to the very last page, but it does help with student performance academically, helps them with behavior issues, social, emotional learning components, as well as becoming stewards of the environment. Prior to this position, I actually was employed here from Carteret County Schools as of the end of September this year, and I spent 17 years working here. I worked at Beaufort Elementary School. I started as a 3rd grade teacher for a few years, looped up with my 4th grade kids, spent some time there, and then I was given the ball to start the STEAM Lab project at our school. And I also served as the instructional technology facilitator there. During my 7 to 8 years in the STEAM Lab, the science scores for the math, or for the 5th grade students, increased every year. And I think they reached probably like 80% or close to it about 2 years ago. So, sorry, kind of lost my place here. Oh yeah. So those activities, the majority ones I did with my K through 5 students were outdoor related, getting the kids outdoors and learning from the environment. So much like starting the STEAM Lab, in this new position, this is giving me creative freedom and to kind of make it what I want it to be. And so in this role, my goal is not to help just one school now, but to help as many as possible. I'm looking for teachers that are interested in partnering up in the Schools and Parks program. And I'm currently working with Beaufort Elementary School, and I do have some of their teachers on board, but I'm looking for anybody else who might be interested in joining up. And I just want Carteret County Public Schools to know that Hammock Beach State Park is here to help support student performance in any way that we possibly can. Thank you very much for your time. My contact information is also attached to the sheet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Van Zandt, I hope that we do take advantage of that. I remember visiting the school when Miss Bell was the principal there, and the students loved your classroom.
Yeah.
You had the back classroom with all the colors, and
Yes, ma'am.
I do remember that, and everyone loved you. So I hope we do take advantage of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Dustin Gurley.
Board, my name is Dustin Gurley, and my wife and I are the parents of 2 children at Beaufort Elementary School who have absolutely loved it there. I'm here tonight to seek clarification on concerns we have about how decisions were made to cancel the elementary school Battle of the Books, and to share a little bit about our story as we transition to Carteret County. We moved to Carteret County, and my daughter was a new kid, struggling to find her place. Battle of the Books wasn't just an extracurricular activity for her, it was a lifeline that allowed her to build friendships with other students who shared her love of reading. Through this program, she found a supportive group of friends who shared a positive academic and social environment, helping her to adjust to a new school in a meaningful way. When we learned about the cancellation of the Battle of the Books, we were surprised, quite frustrated, and as you can imagine, quite saddened. We're not alone in feeling saddened by this program's loss. Dozens of parents have expressed frustration over its cancellation, and multiple parent groups are forming online to discuss this exact topic. Just last year, interest was so high that students had to rotate throughout the competition at most schools so that everyone could participate. That level of demand hardly points to a quote-unquote lack of interest. Yet, we've heard that the board cited this as the reason for cancellation. However, the support and enthusiasm from media coordinators, the schools, and the community seem to say otherwise. It honestly makes me wonder if the real concern was about the content of the books. And I'll admit, I don't love the content of each and every book, but these topics and ideas are something that I, as a parent, feel confident in navigating with my children. Consider this. Football is a beloved extracurricular activity, but it comes with a high risk of injury, including concussions. Families understand these risks, yet they make a personal choice to participate based on their comfort level. Why can't Battle of the Books operate under the same principle, allowing families to choose whether or not they're comfortable with the material? Just as with sports, we should let parents make informed decisions about what's best for their children rather than removing the choice entirely. In programs like Battle of the Books, children not only discover a lifelong love of reading, but also gain lifelong friendships and engage in healthy, academically enriching competition. These are lasting benefits, which is why I'm urging the board, you guys, to reconsider and reinstate the program. Let's not take away a space where children like my daughters can thrive academically and socially. So my direct ask is for you to give a clear explanation as to how it came to the decision to cancel only the elementary level Battle of Books, and to explain in detail about how you gauged the interest level before some of the teams were even formed. Moving forward, I'd also encourage and love for you guys to involve us, the community, the parents, and the families in decisions that directly affect our children's experiences. And let's work together to ensure transparency and preserve programs that foster growth, learning, and connection. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Parker Matlock.
Hello,
Hi.
my name is Parker Matlock, and I am in the 4th grade at White Oak Elementary. I'm here tonight to talk about the cancellation of Battle of the Books. On October 21st, myself and the other 4th and 5th grade battlers got a note sent home that Battle of the Books is being canceled. The reason given at the time was lack of participation throughout the county. White Oak, as of the date of cancellation, had 37 battlers on our team. Morehill Elementary had 33, Newport Elementary had 22, and Beaufort Elementary had 10. It has since come to my attention that Bob was not canceled because of lack of participation. I have learned that some parents were in disagreement with the book selection. Their complaints led the county to abruptly cancel this season of Bob and mislead the students about the reason. I would like to say something about it. You as a parent can decide for your child whether or not they read certain books or participate in Bob. You do not, however, get to choose for the entire county. Each parent and student should be able to choose for themselves. Our county has trusted in the North Carolina School Library Media Association to choose Bob titles for over 20 years. Books are chosen after careful review by a committee of librarians and teachers. Their standards are to make the title list available in early spring, the same list that was given at my school's initial interest meeting. At any time, this book list could have and should have been accessed by parents of upcoming 4th and 5th graders. Battle of the Books is an opportunity for young readers to read books they may not usually be interested in, learn to work as a team, and compete with peers from across the county and state. This opportunity has now been taken away without consideration for the students who have joined and committed to this season. I'm here tonight to ask that you reinstate our elementary Bob season. Please give the students and parents of Carteret County the ability to choose for themselves what is appropriate or not appropriate for their own households. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Matlock,
Parker,
you're in 4th grade? I just want to tell you how proud I am of you, that you will come up here and fight for what you believe in. Thank you for doing that, and that you have made my evening, so thank you.
Thank you.
Me too, Parker. Lauren Simmons.
Hello, my name is Lauren Simmons. I'm also here to talk about the elementary Battle of the Books. Recently, the community learned that the Battle of the Books for elementary grades has been canceled. Letters went out at all elementary schools citing a lack of interest and participation on the county level. In doing personal research, I found that at least 3 to 4 schools had beginning teams where those letters were delivered. The students and parents were confused over this decision, citing a clear want to participate as a team had been formed. I have collected some positive impacts that are somewhat obvious regarding Battle of the Books participants. Battle of the Books programs encourage reading, build reading comprehension, foster teamwork, especially for students who do not have a lot of team experience, develop critical thinking, which leads to better test-taking skills and higher test scores, boost confidence, encourage friendly competition, and expose students to diverse books, which is so important as we focus on our students' social, emotional learning. Elementary Battle of the Books has been part of North Carolina schools in its current format since 2000, although various battle formats have existed since the early 1980s. Last year, 72 counties across North Carolina participated in the program, sending over 2,200 teams to district-level competitions. At roughly 10 to 12 students per team, about 24,000 student readers enjoy various quality books, work with fellow students, and boost their confidence on public stages. Many of our Battle of the Books participants are students who might not join other kinds of teams, and our program provides a safe space for them to enjoy the same opportunities afforded to our science Olympians, our mathletes, and our athletes. It is important to note that Battle of the Books is a voluntary educational opportunity. Students are also not required to read every book on the list to participate. Parents and students have access to the book list several months before the program starts, giving them ample time to decide what books are right for their students. When the Carteret County EBOB cancellation was announced to school librarians, 7 of our county schools had already submitted compliance forms to NC SLAMA, signaling their intent to participate this year. Most elementary schools had also purchased 1 or more copies of the books on the list, which represents a minimum of $500 of precious library funding. I would like it to be on the record that our county has a well-established desire for this program. There is interest, and we want the interest heard for the program's reinstatement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy Gurley.
Hi, my name is Emmy Gurley, and I'm a 5th grade student at Beaufort Elementary School. While I've only been in this district for 2 years now, I do have experience in the Battle of the Books program. I was a new student in 4th grade last school year. This was very difficult, and finding friends was extremely hard as well. Battle of the Books helped me with this. I've had a love of reading since about 1st grade, so finding my community of readers around my age felt and was amazing. When I learned that Battle of the Books was being banned because of low member numbers, I was confused. Each Battle of the Books teams needs at most 12 students to participate. Many schools in Carteret County participate in the Battle of the Books program, which means that many students are on these teams altogether. Along with this, many of the schools have extra players. This program is not at all required for students. It is simply suggested. The fact that Battle of the Books is only suggested is very important. This means that Battle of the Books is an extracurricular activity and no students have to join. Students want to join. If Battle of the Books is banned, students will never know the value of reading and reading being a common trait. Battle of the Books helps kids from 4th through 5th grade to find their happy place where they can be themselves once a week. These are just a few of the many reasons why Battle of the Books should remain in Carteret County schools. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Gurley, I also want to tell you how proud I am of you. The fact that the 2 of y'all come up here and do this, I'm just very proud of you. You can walk out of here with your head held high. A good job.
Thank you. Amanda Robles.
Hi there.
Hello.
My name is Amanda Robles. I am a licensed elementary teacher. I've taught 3rd grade, and I also taught ELA here for a short period at Bridges Alternative. I received a graduate degree in English with a concentration in multicultural literature, and I create curriculum using books just like the ones that are read in Battle of the Books. I have 3 children in or who have gone through our school system, and one is currently participating in Battle of the Books at the middle school level. When I inquired as to the cause of the countywide cancellation of the elementary Battle of the Books, I was told that our schools did not show enough interest, and so we opted out of it. We know, however, that at least half of our schools have adequate interest. Based on public conversation, it seems that the program was actually pulled due to some parents' claim that the content was inappropriate or had an agenda. If this is so, this is problematic for a number of reasons. It is worth questioning if those finding fault with the books have actually read the books. If an individual has not read the literature, They simply cannot make a valid claim on it. We do, however, have professionals available who have been educated and trained to make such a call, such as our school librarians. If the school system has in fact allowed themselves to be convinced that there is something inappropriate about the books, that leads me to first defend the children and second to defend the books. It is the job of the public school system to educate the public, all of the public, and to provide opportunities to all of that public. By erasing this optional program, we've just communicated to an entire community and to select students that their story, their history, their family, their passion, their gift, their special need, their language, their experience is somehow wrong and bad. And they are not wrong, and they are not bad. I'll offer a few quick examples. Yusuf Asim is not a hero is about a boy, a Pakistani American who lived after the 9/11 attacks. It is based on a true story of a boy, a student in Texas, and I actually spoke with this author, and this is the first she's heard of this particular shadow ban, as she termed it, the first in the entire country. Stella by Starlight is about a girl, an African-American girl, who is surrounded by a beautiful support system as she learns to find her voice through writing and during hard times. And there's Hello Universe that highlights Asian students, a deaf student. And when we tell students they cannot read these books, we are silencing them and their experience and telling them there is something wrong with them. There are a lot of common themes in all of these books, like family, community, perseverance, standing up for what's right, all lessons that we would value for our children. So I'd like to offer the reminder that true and wise readers know how to read a book, especially under the supervision of a reading professional. And we appreciate seeing our children, our students, and ourselves represented in these books. So I would ask that we be honest with ourselves and with the community, and that we allow the educators and librarians to do what it is that they have the expertise to do, and that we would ultimately let the readers read and reinstate the Elementary Battle of the Books program. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Eugene Thompson.
Good evening. My name is Eugene Thompson, and I've had 2 students graduate from Carteret County Public Schools, and I have one currently a junior at West. I have 3 concerns. Athletic trainers. My son decided to play soccer this year for the West team, and in attending these games, I see a need to have athletic trainers provided during these matches. Players from West suffered from cramps and sprains during the game. One had a lacerated ear from being cleated inside of his ear, and another had a broken collarbone, and yet another had a broken nose and a concussion occurred during the match. These players need to be treated by a professional or someone trained in these areas during the match and not wait to go to a doctor or emergency room later on that evening or the next day. We need to take care of our athletes. The coaches, the team manager, and players have to assist the injured players. When the player broke his nose and suffered the concussion, the team manager was there trying to stop the bleeding. She had blood up and down her arms and on her clothing. The trainers are trained to deal with this in these circumstances and should be present at athletic events. The only time trainers are required are football and boys lacrosse. Second concern, nursing. West only has a nurse 6 hours a week. So if there's an emergency when she's not there or he's not there, they have to call another school, or depending on the severity, they have to call emergency responders. Our office staff is dispensing medicine. They're not trained to do this. It should be handled by someone who is. My third concern is the traffic outside of West Carteret High School. During the morning and the afternoons, traffic's backed up on Country Club, Bridges Street Extension, sometimes as far back as 70. There are 3 schools operating in this area about the same time for drop-off and pickup. It's a tremendous backup in the mornings. And maybe what needs to be looked at is the traffic pattern at West to find a better solution to drop-offs and pickups. There's only, for drop-off and pickup, there's one way in and one way out. Students go into another direction. Off of Safrit Drive, the student and bus parking lot. We back up there. Something needs to be done to help the traffic pattern at this school. So, Reverend Godwin, Mr. Day, thank you for your service to the students of the county. Fair winds and following seas to you too. Thank you for your support.
Thank you very much. All right. So now we're moving on to the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I will second that.
Okay, got a motion by
One
Mr.
second.
Jenkins and a second by Ms. Wheatley. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All right. And then, moving right along, an update on the Public School Foundation. Mr. Harker and Ms. Jones?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, and I thank you for the opportunity that we can provide an update on some really exciting things that have happened over the last year with our foundation. At the beginning of the year, our board adopted sort of an intentional pillars to guide our decision-making and the things that we do throughout the year. And those three things are listed here. We wanted to support innovation in our schools. We know that sometimes our students and their families and our teachers have emergencies and crisis situations, and we want to be there to support them with intervention, with funds and other support, more support. And then finally, make an investment in our teachers, our students, and our schools. I want to introduce to you, I'm gonna let Ms. Erica Jones come up. We really made a outstanding decision last year when we hired really a highly professional nonprofit leader, Erica Jones. For some of you, this may be an introduction for you. Others of you hope to have had an opportunity to meet Erica and talk to her. I'm going to sit down and let her do the rest of it.
Thank you, Mr. Harker. Good evening, Board. It's so wonderful to meet some of you face-to-face, and thank you for this opportunity to update you on the foundation. It is my honor to serve in my capacity, and I've had a wonderful year, and I'm so excited to share it with you. The foundation, when I came on board, has done a tremendous job of being a beloved foundation in our community. I believe it had invested about $2.6 million back into our school system since it was created. Originally, paperwork was filed, we believe, in 2000 is what the paperwork says, but really, ultimately, for the last 15 years, it's been extremely involved in the schools, but we thought we would just take it in a different direction to become more sustainable and to make more of an impact on what the schools need currently. We focus on three main areas in the foundation. Innovation, you'll see us in some of our schools already through the Hill Center Reading Program. We support the CAPE program, the Down East STEAM programs. Innovation in our schools, you all have done a wonderful job of providing innovation. We're just happy to be alongside you and support in any way we can. Our second area of focus is intervention. Our Staff and Student Assistance Fund is what the foundation is most well known for. It's the fund that steps in, I think most people would know us through Hurricane Florence and the close to $500,000 that was able to be put back into the hands of our students and staff members that needed it in that time. This fund continues. We get about 3 to 5 requests a week currently, and it can be a range of things. We are unique in that we fund things that a lot of other things in the community don't fund. We make it very simple, and we protect the dignity of the staff and the student receiving the assistance. That's very important to us. So that's our intervention, just stepping in an immediate crisis. Our third area is investment. As you most know, we have our Big Rock Teaching Fellows program that was made available through a grant with the Big Rock Foundation. And we celebrated this year Miss Molly Arnold. I believe she has a new married name. I apologize for not knowing. She just got married last week. But she is our first graduate from this program, hailing its success, and began teaching at White Oak Elementary School this year. So we're extremely proud of her and what this program is doing. Moving forward, as we continue to develop, it's really important that the foundation is able to step into the areas and bridge the gaps for our schools in support of everything that you do. We are developing a professional development fund that is going to be invested back into our teachers and our educators and our staff. We believe, and we did an email survey through all of our staff and educators as to what the foundation can do more to help them, and this was one of the most requested areas. And so we're very excited to be able to launch this. You'll be hearing a lot more about that in the coming months. But this professional development fund is just to do exactly that, to invest into those that are serving our schools and our students, and to make sure that we're there in support of them, to preserve their ability to continue to do what they do in difficult times. We understand what teachers and educators go through, and so we're very, very committed to this. This is a program we're very excited about. We are taking great steps towards dealing with affordable housing stipends for our young teachers. We will primarily focus on our Big Rock Teaching Fellows and then hopefully expand it out to teachers that are within the first few years of teaching to address the housing. This is our response to the housing situation that we have in Carteret County. Stipends seems to be the easiest way. We're not trying to be landlords or build big buildings, but we certainly do want to address the fact that it is a big reason why teachers don't choose Carteret County when they have a choice in coming to teach, and we don't want that to be a reason that we lose good teachers. We did launch an employee giving program that went really well. That's our first throughout the system, and we'll be investing those monies into the professional development fund. So teachers supporting teachers, educators supporting educators. Outreach to the community, as you know, we have our Shine the Light Gala every year. This year we're extremely excited. We actually get to hold our gala on the date of our paperwork, February 22nd, 2000, just happens to be a Saturday. So that is the date of our big 25th anniversary gala. And this year we're excited because we will be announcing our Hall of Fame inductees. We are going to start highlighting the great people that have passed through our school system, have made an impact into our community, and we're excited to induct 10 new people into this, well, I guess the inaugural ones, into this Hall of Fame. Our goal is to do several things, to really shine the light that you can grow in Carteret County, stay in Carteret County, and thrive in Carteret County, that our schools are fantastic, and we're excited to see the alumni that bubble to the surface with this and be able to tell their stories in a great way and shine light onto the public school system. That will be in those 10 inductees will be announced at the gala, and then there'll be some media following it. So it's going to be a good one this year. We're very excited. It's very much a beloved event. Last year we had sneakers. I think that was the reason everyone was very happy. Our feet didn't hurt at the end of the night. But we're looking forward to it. So you'll be hearing a lot more about that, and bringing some of the nominees forward. Eventually, we would like it to be public nominations, but in the first year, we're just going to control it to make sure that it's a more structured event. And then just highlighting some of our 2024 accomplishments. We developed our first strategic plan. We implemented online monthly giving where donors can support us on smaller amounts but over monthly or yearly periods. Our professional development fund, our employee giving program launched. We've added 3 new board members, which is fantastic. We've streamlined our processes for grants and assistance to make it easy for those that need access to access us. We have our first graduate, as we mentioned, homegrown talent, addressing affordable housing. We were able to, through partnerships in the community, wipe out the student lunch debt at the beginning of the school year, which was fantastic. We feel that that was a great program that we'll continue to do. And then we've increased community partnerships through paid student internships and supporting the CAPE program. So we've had a busy year, to say the least. What we expect to see, we, with our professional development fund, are hoping to issue about 40 national board certification grants to teachers. We have a current interest form out there, and there are 82 teachers that have indicated that they would like to take national boards or renew. That's a $2,000 cost to our teachers that our professional development fund is aiming at alleviating to help our teachers get their national board certification, which will help them with a 12% pay increase, which again, just helps their quality of life a little bit. We want to do 5 grants to approve professional development conferences in 2025 and increase awareness of the foundation and its programs, continue to grow our employee giving program, and increase our applicants to Big Rock Teacher Fellows program. And then, of course, grow our donor base about 30%, which we believe will come as we become more visible in the community. And that is our wrap-up of our year, and I look forward to updating you next year, but I welcome any questions.
I don't have any questions, but I would like to make a statement. And my statement is, I want to tell both of y'all, and I know Ms. Chadwick, everybody who has been involved with this foundation, I was briefly involved with it, but I saw after Hurricane Florence what y'all did for our staff and for our students and continue to do. And from the bottom of my heart, how appreciative I am of everybody who was part of this. So thank y'all so much for what you do.
Thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thanks very much. Have a good night.
All right. Mr. Probst is up next.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
So now comes the policy. Not a whole lot to actually tell you about this. This is first read. These policies come from the fall 2024 packet that was given to us by the School Board Association. Within those packets, it usually reflects the modifications in state board policy, federal and state legislation, and any other case law that has changed. These particular policies that are before you are purely editorial with just wording changes, legal references, and cross-references. Nothing of substance within these policies. You've approved these policies previously, and nothing has really changed with them. So I don't have a whole lot to say, but I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody got any questions? This is a first read.
First read.
We'll be back next month.
I'll bring them back next month.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Budget Amendment 2. Ms. Bernanski.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Tonight, I am here to present Budget Revision Number 2. This is an adjustment to the state operating budget, federal operating budget, and capital budget. And within your packet of information, you have details on the entire journal entry. I am here to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody got any questions? All right. So do we need a motion, maybe?
I will make a motion to consider amendment as presented.
Budget Revision 2, yep, all right.
I'll second that.
So I got a motion by Mr. Jenkins and a second by Mr. Day. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, thank you. And now up, the audit.
Good evening. I was going to get Parker, the fourth grader, to read my report, but she left, so I guess it's up to me.
Oh, I know how to make
My name's Adam Sapurik, a partner with Anderson Smith White, your independent audit firm. First of all, Godwin, Mr. Day, congratulations on your long tenure and wish you luck in your future endeavors. That means for the rest of you, next year's presentation is the 2-hour version where we go through all the accounting policies affecting the school system.
Praise Jesus.
Well, the new people have to hear it too, so. Anyway, in front of you, you should have a bound set of financial statements as well as a 3-page letter. The 3-page letter is addressed to the board being the governing body that hires us to conduct the audit of management and issue these financial statements. That 3-page letter just offers us an opportunity to provide you with any information that may not fit within the context of the financial statements, whether we had difficulties getting information, if there was new accounting principles applied, or differences of opinion between ourselves and your finance officer. There were none of those issues, so it's all standard language letting you know that the audit went as planned in accordance with our engagement letter from the beginning of the year, and that the statements have also been issued, and they've actually also have been approved by the LGC at this point. So again, just letting you know that the audit went fine. Now for the fun part. This year, 76 pages. As you know from previous presentations, if you've been here, I do see one new face. When you look at these financial statements, unfortunately, everything is required, and it actually kind of gauges the school system financially in 2 different ways. When you're looking through these statements and you are looking at the change in net position or your net position, note that that includes your fund balance plus or minus all of the other assets that are not financial assets to the board. Your buildings are valuable. They are not fully depreciated. They have a value on your books in the form of net position, but they're not valued and they do not help your fund balance. So whenever you're reading through these, whether you're reading about net position or change in fund balance, those are two different things. There'll be non-cash expenses and revenues that affect that debt position that don't affect fund balance. Fund balance is more of a cash basis type of accounting where you're looking at your current assets minus your current liabilities and what do you have available to spend in future years being the fund balance. So if you would, when you turn to page 1, we're hired to actually conduct an audit and issue an opinion over the financial statements and your compliance with state and federal requirements. The first opinion letter, page 1, the first section, the opinion paragraph, basically states that, in our opinion, we believe these financial statements accurately reflect the net position and the fund balance for the school system as of June 30, 2024, and for the year that ended. It's considered a clean, unmodified opinion. After that, you have about 10 pages of discussion and analysis. Much of this information is on that net position basis. So again, when you're reading through this, whether you're reading about fund balance or net position, just know that those are two different gauges, heavily affected by depreciation and also the change in the state retirement plan. Your portion of the pension liability and the post-employment health retirement benefits, those liabilities go up and down based on actuarial studies. You're apportioned 0.2% of this total state liability, and it's reflected in your net position because you receive the value of the employment of those retirees. So it is not that it is your liability, it's basically that you have, gained the value of employing those individuals and apportioned a certain part of that within your net position calculation. And those change by millions of dollars every year based on actuarial studies, discount rates. The economy changes a little bit. Discount rate goes up 1%. For the state, that unfunded liability can go up hundreds of millions of dollars, and yours goes up $10 million. So it's, again, you're just a very small part of that state plan, and it is really driven by actuarial studies paid for by the state to analyze those plans. So after you get through the management's discussion analysis, Exhibits 1 and 2 are your income statement and balance sheet based on that net position. But to me, I think the information that matters most to the board, matters most to management, actually starts on page 14. Which is Exhibit 3, which is a balance sheet for your governmental funds. Each of your funds are listed across here. Your state and federal funds do not carry fund balance. Those allotments are received and spent all in one transaction. Your allotted money, you write the checks, you request the funds. You're not allowed to hold state and federal cash or state and federal assets. Those allotments are use it or lose it, or they have carryover amounts, but you don't carry fund balance in those two funds, despite them being pretty significant portions of your revenue and expenditures every year. So your fund balance is really housed in the general fund, the other special revenue fund, capital outlay fund, which is restricted for capital reasons or capital needs, and the individual school fund, which is the money held at each of the individual schools, their athletic and fundraising funds. So the majority of your fund balance available for spending is really housed in the general and the other special revenue fund. If you look at the bottom of that first column, total fund balance in the general fund for as of June 30, 2024 was $3,759,000. That's an increase of $1.1 million from last year, and that compares to a decrease of $1 million last year. So you're pretty much back where you started 2 years ago on July 1, 2022. So there's been some fluctuations this year, last year and this year. I think a lot of that is a portion to the amount of county funding you received this year compared to last year, as well as the amount of state funding you received this year compared to last year. Your use of the ESSER funds the COVID-19 federal grants. That was really consistent. You had $11 million in your federal grants fund both the last 2 years. This year, about $5.8 million of that is that COVID-19 funds that are set to expire, are expiring by December 31, completely gone. So next year's audit will have a little bit of activity in those programs, but really, starting January 1, 2025, it's back to business as usual, the school system having to fund all of the programs with state and local funds, aside from the normal federal grants like Title I and EC. Now, when you look at that $3.7 million, right off the bat, $700,000 of it isn't real. It's real in that it's in the form of inventory. You have a little bit of prepaids. You get an asset or get an invoice before June 30, probably for insurance or something that starts July 1. You pay in advance. That's already been spent. So it's an asset in that you gain insurance coverage next year, but it is not available to appropriate. It's already spent. Same thing with inventory. You have bought all the nuts and bolts and light bulbs and tires and transportation parts within that $658,000 already. You do not have the ability to turn that back into cash to then appropriate and spend. So that category is considered non-spendable fund balance and really should just be taken right off the top. So when you look at what is available, it's the restricted by state statute, which is to cover your receivables. The state makes their laws over you to prevent you from spending money you don't have. A receivable is the money that you're going to receive but don't have yet. You're not allowed to appropriate funds that you have not received in the door before June 30. Now, you can, when that receivable is collected in July or August, you can appropriate that fund balance next year, assuming you don't have that same receivable again, but it is just not allowed to be appropriated. So it is restricted, but it is in the form of a current asset. So you also have assigned fund balance, $934,000 that you plan on spending already in your 24-25 budget. That amount represents the fund balance appropriated in your budget as of after June 30, 2024. So we capture planned usage of fund balance prior to the issuance of these statements. So leaving your unassigned of $1,126,000. The other special revenue fund has $3 million of fund balance. That's an increase of $568,000 from last year. Of that $3 million of fund balance, $694,000 restricted by stabilization by state statute. You are planning on spending $900,000 of that in next year's budget, leaving you $1.4 million assigned for special revenues. It's assigned for special revenues because you're only allowed one unassigned fund balance in the general fund. If a dollar is not assigned and in the general fund, it can be considered unassigned. That same dollar, if it's in the other special revenue fund, automatically assigned because it's in a special revenue fund. It's really just a categorical description, but it really is that $1.4 million kind of available to appropriate for non-restricted purposes. There are some restricted grants within this fund, Medicaid, ROTC, some state and federal grants, but also a lot of unrestricted sources like fees, indirect cost. So by virtue of it being in this fund, it cannot be considered unassigned fund balance. So when you look at what you really have available to appropriate or available to spend, it's the $3 million in the other special revenue fund and the $3 million in the general fund that is not made up of inventory or prepaid. So fund balance in the form of cash or receivables is $6 million as of June 30, 2024. Any questions about those two? That is your local, really local operating funds. That number over the last 10, 15 years has been much lower, but you also have some future issues with the ESSER cliff coming, the unknowns about how they're going to change the state funding allotments, the calculations, as well as what we'll talk about later, the child nutrition fund. So some challenges ahead, having $6 million available, not a bad position to be in. You also have $3 million of capital outlay fund balance. That's a decrease of $5 million. And that's so large because you have been holding since the end of Hurricane Florence funds received from the state to address repairs and maintenance on your facilities related to Hurricane Florence damage. When you look at that $3 million of fund balance up above, $2.88 million of it is still that hurricane money, and $196,000 is available to spend on whatever you want. That's your true fund balance for spending on new projects. If you want a scoreboard, you only have $196,000 to pay for it. The 2.88 has to be tied to a repair and maintenance related to Hurricane Florence. All of your usage of fund balance this year in that fund was related to Hurricane Florence repairs. You guys spent over $5 million using those funds so that they don't expire, have to be sent back to the state, even though the state doesn't want them. But you've done over $5 million of repairs with those funds this year to windows, paving, roofs, the gambit. So that is the decrease in fund balance. You've been operating with true fund balance of around that $196,000 for years. You really don't carry capital fund balance. All of your expenditures through capital are really either paid for by the county or reimbursed by the county, meaning revenues equal expenses. You're not carrying money, you're not getting money and then deciding what you spend on. You're spending the money, asking for reimbursement. So the majority of that capital outlay fund balance, again, has to be tied to repair and maintenance related to Hurricane Florence. And then $1.3 million in individual school funds, and that's across all of your schools. All right, any questions on anything here? If not, if you would turn to page 16, this is the income statement for those same funds. So it just shows you the level of revenues and expenses that you have across all your funds. You can see that your general fund funded to the tune of $28.6 million. You get $59 million from the state, $11 million from federal grants, $3.6 million in other special revenues, and then this year, $19 million through the capital outlay fund, again, due to just the activity that you are involved in construction-wise with the county. There's a lot of projects going on. $17.6 million of county money flowed through this fund this year to address all those projects. And then $3 million of individual school money collected, again, across all those schools. When you look at the general fund, the $27.6 million received from the county is an increase of $1.2 million from last year. Again, I think that helped not use $1 million of fund balance this year, but actually add $1 million. And the state public school fund, $59.3 million, is an increase of $2.1 million from last year's state funding amount. That amount goes up with salaries and benefit increases. A lot of the dollars allotted to the school system are actually allotted as positions. So it's not just, here's $60 million to spend how you want. It's, here's 4,000 months of employment. Use them how you want. Whether you use it for a new teacher or an experienced teacher, will fund whatever that teacher's pay is. So those come over, again, a lot in position allowance, not just strictly dollar allowance. And then $11 million in the federal grants fund. Again, 5.8 of that was education stabilization funds, which is that COVID-19 ESSER, CARES, however you want to call it. It's several programs all lumped into one. The lumped into one name is education stabilization funds. And then at the bottom of each of those categories, you can see the change in fund balance. Those are the numbers that I went through when we were looking at the balance sheet. One thing again to point out, the general fund, you had expenditures, $27.5 million, a decrease of $800,000 from last year. That's the rest of that money that you saved. You had 1.2 million of additional revenues and 800,000 less of expenditures. And I think a lot of the decreases of expenditures, they come from vacancies. They also come from utilizing those education stabilization funds right at the end of the year. Yeah, my 3 minutes is up. Any questions about the income statement? Again, to me, Exhibit 3 and 4, the most important pages within the financial statements. Shows you all your revenues, expenses, and your fund balance. After that, we have some budget versus actual schedules. No budget violations there. If you keep turning to page 22, Exhibit 7, you also have one business type fund, the School Food Service Fund. It is treated different than the governmental funds. It is actually on a full accrual basis rather than like a modified accrual. So that means all of the assets, like equipment, and all of the liabilities, like their portion of pension and post-employment benefit, are recorded directly within this fund. And so fund balance and net position are the same number for this fund. So we can't really look at the net position at negative 1.5 million and say you're 1.5 million in the hole, because again, that's largely due to a liability that is not the child nutrition's liability, but rather a state liability portioned out to the school system. So instead, I like to look at the top number on this balance sheet, which is the cash on hand, $862,000 as of June 30, 2024. A decrease of $954,000 from last year. And if we look back even further, 2023, you used $622,000 of cash. Obviously a trend. You used more cash last year than you had on hand. This is in this direction. When this fund runs out of money, it is a federal program. You're required to feed the kids. And any shortfall in revenue, where when they run out of money, any expenditures must be paid essentially out of local funds. The reason for that is you set the meal prices for the non-free and reduced lunches. And so if you're setting a meal price that is too low, causing the school system to not make money in that fund, then you should be the one to pay for that decision. If you decide to give benefits and full-time status to child nutrition employees, that is a decision of the school system. Therefore, you pay for those decisions with funding it locally when they run out of funds. So the trend on this fund, again, I think could be a challenge going forward. When we look at the income statement, I'll point out a couple of things. When we were here at interim, we looked at this and I think identified this as a future problem. And since then, you have gone to a 100% CEP status, meaning all your kids eat for free, basically in an attempt to do something different than the last 2 years. So prior to last year, all kids were eating for free under a COVID-19 reimbursement program. So every kid ate for free, and you got a high reimbursement rate. You were also, prior to COVID, partially CEP on some of your schools. Last year, no longer eating for free because of COVID, but still some students eating for free under CEP. So you went to a partial free and reduced for everybody per school and partial paid status for everybody, causing you to use $622,000 of cash on hand because the reimbursement rates are really back to pre-COVID levels. They are not matching the inflation of food cost. And then this year, in 2024, those rates went down even further. Your participation goes down, but you're still using $954,000 of cash on hand. So, and CEP comes to an end for the most part. So now, again, you have 2 years of different operations And I think, again, part of the discussion that may have happened going into 24, 25 was, again, doing something different, joining the CEP program and see if it helps stem that usage of cash. And so if you look at page 23, this is an income statement for food sales at the very top were $1,167,000. That was an increase of $637,000 from the year before, because again, going back to full, free, and reduced, maybe some CEP in some schools, but not in as many schools. But your reimbursements, which are towards the middle of the page, under non-operating revenues, federal reimbursements, $2,700,000. That's a decrease of $1.4 million from last year. So your increase in sales were $600,000, but your decrease in reimbursements were $1.4 million. That's a net decline of $790,000. That is driven partially by the reimbursement rate, but mostly by participation. So your fewer kids were eating in the schools, and so your food cost, which is the first line of your expenditures, $1,572,000, actually went down $371,000. So you save money by serving less meals, but you lose a lot more revenue than you saved, especially when you look at your salaries and benefits of $2.5 million. That number there includes the change in pension and post-employment benefits. When I look at your change in cash salaries and benefits, actual paid out, it went down $15,000. It's basically the same amount as it was a year ago. So that tells me the same number of people working in the kitchen 2 years ago were working in the kitchen last year while dealing with $790,000 less of revenue, $370,000 less of food cost. And I think that's a lot of the problem of the profitability within this fund. Any questions there? Now, I have seen districts your size, they go to CEP program, they push the CEP program, your reimbursements, they could go up to $5-6 million of federal reimbursements. Your sales will be very minimal, but your food costs will go up. So, but it's at least an attempt, again, to change that usage of cash at such large levels so that maybe you can get away with making money, but even if you lose $300,000, it's not $900,000, and now all your kids are eating for free, and again, pushing kids to actually take the meals that are offered. So again, this trend here, we won't know how it is impacting 24-25 until we come back in the spring and start the audit process. But again, you were in a trend of where you had to do something.
I do have a question. This may be for Julie. Have we noticed a change since offering free lunch to most of our students?
Yes.
I know it's kind of early to probably tell, but.
So I have numbers on September and October. September saw an increase of 13.5% in breakfast sales, and I call them sales, I mean it's
Right.
free and bought. Lunch went up 14.34%. For October, breakfast increased 35.8% and lunch increased 29.5%. So, and we're not just seeing an increase in the meals, but also just like the a la carte sales. And this, I think, just lends to the fact that as you have more people going through the line, even getting free meals, they'll grab that ice cream or that extra and throw it on their plate, and they will pay for that. So for October, our sales went from 42,000 to 60,000. So we are seeing an increase in just revenue coming in as well.
Okay, thank you.
And I've got a question. Obviously, you do audits on a few school systems. Do you see any system in the food sales where it actually works? Or is everybody dealing with this?
So there is, I audit school system with as few as 1,200 kids. It's tough to make money there. I see districts with 45,000 kids. They're more inclined to make money operating their child nutrition fund. What happens is your number of schools and the average size of those schools. There's an economy of scale. Back to the salary. If those, let's just say there's 4 or 5 people in that kitchen, you need 4 or 5 kitchen, whether you're serving 150 meals or 800 meals. And so there's an economy of scale of operating larger cafeterias. So if you actually tried to analyze your cost or profit loss by school, that would be more telling. If you have a school with just over 100 kids, that one is going to be difficult to operate profitably. Right. So there's an economy of scale related to the various activities. There's also the difference in salaries and benefits, whether you're using full-time people that you pay benefits to. Actually, this week, we were at a city school that is using a service, basically a contracted service to provide child nutrition staff who work in the kitchen, but they're actually employees of, I think it's Sodexo or a large operational firm that contracts out. It's not widely used in North Carolina. I think DPI prefers people, at least the Department of Agriculture, DPI, the DPI child nutrition folks prefer those kitchens be run by employed individuals, but there are a few districts using contracted labor, whether it's they're operating, managing the whole thing, and you just have 2 employees of the school system, the director and the assistant director, or another, again, a smaller district, using just the contracted labor of the cafeteria workers, still employing director, assistant director, bookkeeper, managers, and just using it for the kitchen staff. So there's various ways to operate the program, but a lot of it boils down to getting the kids through the line and getting them used to taking meals, the level of salaries and benefits, and then also there is other programs. There is an after-school snack program that a lot of smaller districts utilize, especially out in the mountains where, like Cherokee County schools, they basically tell each kid, you're going to go through the line, you're going to get breakfast, you're going to get lunch, and you're also going to get an after-school snack, which is like a prepackaged meal to send home. And those are also under this snack program federally reimbursed. So there are some things you can do to help profitability, but it really boils down to me, I think mostly it's the school size. The overhead cost of operating a small school is not that much less as operating a large school. It really boils down to how many meals 4 or 5 individuals can serve. So it really, school size, I think, is the main driver. And when you're looking at school systems with 40, 50,000 kids, they're not operating 150, 200, 250 kid elementary schools anymore. They're building 700 and 800 student buildings. And geographically, I don't think that makes sense for Carteret County Schools. So this will just always be a challenge.
I've got one more question. I hate to prolong this, but,
Nope.
and this might be illegal, but can you not join with other school systems to create an economy of scale where you're leveraging the size? If Onslow, Craven, and Carteret and Pamlico join together and bulk carrots instead of just Carteret buying carrots, then you're buying thousands of more carrots. I mean, can that happen?
There are some consortium groups where you go together to buy certain staples like that, but that's food cost, and that's not really where the problem is or where the larger expenses is in the salary and benefits. So yes, you might be able to join up with other school systems. You order your carrots, you get a $2 per case difference on cost, but that's not going to equal $900,000. And there used to be more consortiums, but now there's less. I think there's difficulty in operating those, in getting 3 counties to agree what our menus are going to look like when, and also delivery. Yes, you're close to Onslow County for you, but to the truck driver from Cisco making deliveries, if they're delivering a truck to Onslow, they're not usually just delivering half of a truck to Onslow and then coming to Carteret. I don't think it's as efficient nowadays. and we just don't see as many districts utilizing any kind of consortium.
I got it. I was just asking questions.
Yep, no.
Appreciate your answer.
Yep. And then also, one of the other, we do see some schools not operating kitchens in all the cafeterias, but transporting meals, but that's typically when two sites are side by side. Middle school and elementary, you operate one kitchen, send the meals over in all the required, temperature-controlled devices. But again, geographically, I don't know that that makes sense for your Carteret County schools. And it's not that you have a middle school, necessarily a small elementary school next to a larger middle school. It's the location of some of your smaller schools. And there's, several small schools together. So some of your ones that are together, there might be some efficiencies gained in making the meals all in one place. All right, after that, the cash flow statement for that same fund. Here's where you can see that decrease of $954,000 right there in the middle of the page of page 24, where you had $1,816,000 at the beginning of the year and ended the year with $862,000. After that, there are pages and pages of financial statement or footnotes going over all of your various assets and liabilities, going over all of your accounting policies, discussing each of your various types of fund balance. There's even a couple pages talking about how the actuaries came up with the value of those post-employment benefits, including the discount rates they used. But if you would turn past all those and turn to page 57. This is a little bit more detailed income statement, budget versus actual for the general fund. Just wanted to point this one out because, again, a little bit more detailed, showing the $27.6 million that comes from the county, $600,000 of it essentially just a pass-through to charter schools. And then again, your other miscellaneous revenue sources that run through that fund, like fines and forfeitures. If you turn to page 59, this is basically a roll forward of each of those schools and the individual school fund, just showing you the revenues and expenses by school. And then page 61, back to school food service. Just because we're getting ready to talk about compliance, if you turn to page 61, your total operating expenditures, $5,333,000. So this is where I got that change in cash salaries and benefits. This is a non-GAAP schedule that takes out all the non-cash things and puts them at the bottom. So it really, so instead of having pension expense within salaries and benefits, pension expense is down at the bottom. But this is what you use to compare budget versus actual. So if the pension expense goes up $2 billion, you don't have to budget for that. You have to budget for the expenditures that you actually expend, the checks you write. And last year we had a finding in the statements, you were over budget in this fund. So just as a clearing note, this year we did not have that repeat finding. You were $21,000 under budget on your expenditures. So just wanted to point that out. And then page 62 starts 3 more letters. So you hire us to do the audit of the financial statements, which was the first 60 pages, and then also to conduct an audit of compliance over state and federal program requirements for your state and federal funds that you received. Every year we have to audit at least 20% of your federal dollars, and we have to audit each of your major programs, like Title I, EC, once every 3 years. Your state public school fund on the state side has to be audited every year for compliance. And the same thing, every state program over $500,000 has to be audited at least once every 3 years. Page 62 starts Again, 3 letters. The first over internal controls that noted that while we were doing or conducting the audit of the financial statements and the audits of compliance over state and federal requirements, we noted no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses over compliance, over financial reporting. So essentially, no findings related to internal controls. And then page 64, this is an opinion letter over your compliance with state programs or federal programs. And in our opinion, Carteret County Board of Education complied in all material respects with the compliance requirements referred to above. Basically, you spent all of the federal dollars that we audited for compliance in accordance with their respective federal programs. Turn 3 pages, page 67, the same letter, but for your state funds. We noted no compliance issues, no misappropriated funds, no money spent out of compliance with the Title I fund and the COVID-19 Education Stabilization Funds. Those were our 2 major federal programs this year. And then the state programs were the State Public School Fund, like we have to do every year, and your Career and Technical Education, CTE, months of employment state program. So all 3 of the opinion letters, financial, compliance, clean, unmodified opinion letters, and noted no deficiencies in internal controls. Page 72 shows the status of last year's finding as corrected. And one last number, page 74, your schedule of state and federal awards. The Education Stabilization Fund starts there at the top, and that's that $5.8 million that I noted in your federal funds. These are the various programs and the funds received in each of those programs, again, through that COVID-19 pot of money. Any questions on any of it? Additional questions? All right. I appreciate your time. We had the opportunity to audit your new finance officer. It's the financial statements are 76 pages long, but the stack of things we request are probably 10 times 10 times that. Julie has kind of been in the audit contact along with Kathy for a number of years. So I think it was a pretty straightforward and easy transition for conducting the audit and meeting our requests, so that the first 3-page letter didn't have any complaints about her. Again, we're on site 2 times a year, requesting hundreds of invoices and payroll checks, along with all the various reports required by state and federal programs. And again, it was a clean transition. I think you're very fortunate to have an assistant finance officer that could step up into that role. So that's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So now, Mr. Paler, we're going to receive bond project updates, please.
So we still just have 2 projects going on. That's Broad Creek Middle School and West Carteret High School. You did hear tonight from a parent that the East Carteret Culinary Lab was awarded, and we'll start that project soon. Broad Creek Middle School is the major work there is done. We're still down to a punch list, and it's mostly some HVAC issues that we're trying to work out. At West Carteret, that project remains on schedule. The band room is actually about 90% complete, and we will be in that this year. I don't want to say exactly when, but hopefully soon. They're working on the locker room. The new science wing, I would say, is probably 40 to 50% complete. The interior walls are in. They're roughing in HVAC and plumbing and things like that. So that project is coming along nicely. That's all I have for the bond.
Okay. So superintendent comments?
Yes, so good evening. Best wishes to our retiring school board members, Travis and Dennis. Thank you both for your dedicated service, and as you move on from the board, we wish you all the best in your retirement. We hope you'll continue to support the school system in other meaningful ways. And we'll point out that there's some potted plants down in front of you that are yours from the school system, and we appreciate your service tremendously. You will both be missed, so good luck to you. November is North Carolina Career and Development Month, and I'd like to take a moment to recognize our dedicated career and development coordinators, Ms. Mikey Broadhurst, Karen Davis, Lisa Hensley, Amy McKay, and Pam Robertson. I don't think they're here tonight, but we do appreciate what they do for us. Additionally, this week is also National School Psychology Week. Let's take a moment to thank our school psychologists. Also, congratulations to our newly elected and re-elected board members that were elected last night. We look forward to working with you and as we continue our mission to support and enhance the educational welfare of our public school students and school community. And I will point out that our two new board members are here tonight. So Nate and Kevin, we appreciate you being here, and we look forward to working with you in the future. As we approach November 11th, Veterans Day, let's honor and express our deepest gratitude to the brave men and women who have served in our armed forces. Their sacrifices and dedication have helped secure the freedoms we enjoy today. Please remember that Veterans Day is a holiday for our school system, along with November 28th and 29th that will be off for Thanksgiving holidays. Our next regular board meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, December 3rd at 6 p.m. It is likely that we will do a swear-in for our newly elected and re-elected board members prior to that meeting, but we'll make that a public notice if that is the case. And Ms. Chair, this concludes my comments.
Okay, thank you. So now I'd like to receive comments from board members.
I guess I'll go ahead and say a little thing or two. It's been a long, wild ride. I jotted down some stuff just during downtime, you know, when I was actually during the audit. But anyway, over the past 8.5 years, it hadn't been 8 years, I came in on a funky time where we started in July in the summertime. And I've been through 4 superintendents. That was Dan Novy, Matt Bottoms, Rob Jackson, and then Richie Paler. So I jotted down some other stuff. We had a switch to partisan elections. We had an opening and closing of early college. We had some school calendar controversy on more than one occasion. We had our school bond for capital improvements. We had the crazy Hurricane Florence devastation, which was unreal. And then, of course, we can't forget all the stupidness, craziness, wildness that came along with COVID, right? So we went through a lot of stuff, you know, in the past. It seems like it's been a heck of a lot longer than 8.5 years. I don't have gray hair yet, but I do have a real gray beard, and I'll attribute a lot of that to the time I've spent here. But it's been worth it, every bit of it, and I actually get a little bit emotional thinking about it, and I'm going to miss it a whole bunch. And so I know I've been a pain in people's tail a whole lot. I'm a feisty guy. I think I've chilled out a little bit over the years. You know, I'm not quite as feisty as I was, but I could be feisty on a whole lot of stuff, and I made a lot of friends, probably made a lot of enemies too. But again, it was all in the spirit of doing what's best for our kids and our community, and again, worth every minute of it. And I really, really am going to end up missing it. So I'll miss the policy revision reads over and over and over again. And you know what? will even miss these crazy financial audits we have to do every once in a while, a little teeny bit. But anyway, thank you all for putting up with me.
I guess I should go next.
Please.
I have half of Travis's time, but I have a lot more gray hair. And my wife was a retired school teacher, and when she went from Nash County to Wayne County, every school day, I would spend at least 30 minutes for her to decompress. And after a year or two of that, I thought, you know, I could run for the school board. Well, that took about 20 years to germinate inside me. And this has been an honor to serve Carteret County Public Schools, this central office, our great administrators, our teachers, our students. My appreciation for everything from the bottom all the way to the top is just increased 1,000%. It's been an honor to serve with the school board. We don't always have to agree to respect, and we've done that well. I will miss it. I was going to have a tough decision, but the commissioners took care of it for me and did away with my district, so I had no decision. But I wouldn't take anything for it. And I think a few people have some things in mind, and I will happily serve this school system in other ways.
Well, I guess I'll go next. I had all this stuff written up. I'm just going to sort of speak from the heart a little bit. I've spent 6 years on this board and gone through much of what Travis has gone through, but this board has been an incredible thing to me. We have gone through a lot. We have gone through some tough decisions, and amazingly, the 7 people who were sitting up here, found a way to respect each other, be thoughtful, even in disagreement. And Travis and Dennis have been a huge part of that. Without y'all, I don't think we could have had that symbiotic relationship. And it's been beautiful to me. And I appreciate it so much because we've all been yelled at. We've all been cussed out. We've all been called, kid killers. But the fact remains that we've all stuck together. We've done our due diligence. We've been thoughtful. We've dealt with hard issues, and it's not always been easy. But we've done it together, and that's the key to this. That's the key to this, and I appreciate y'all so much because of this. Dennis, your wisdom and your thoughtfulness and your positive inspiration in anything that we're dealing with has just, that keeps me invigorated, and I appreciate that. I am going to miss you dearly. And Travis, I've known you forever. We drank beer when we were younger together. I've known him forever.
Don't tell everything.
The great thing about Travis, though, is he is so convicted in what he believes in, but he'll sit down and he'll listen to you. He'll listen to you, and he may say, well, you're wrong, but he'll still listen and give you a hug. And that's what I love about you, man. We have argued numerous times, and then we've walked away smiling, and that's the key. We listen to these people. We may disagree with them, we may agree with them, but we listen to these people, and y'all have been a part of that, a huge part of that, and I'm going to miss that. Thank y'all for being who you are, and I'm going to miss y'all, so that's it.
I'm not a board member, but I would love a moment.
You're the longest serving board member.
I did have almost black hair when I started. Travis has energy and passion and amazing analytical skills. He always puts students first, always. And there was an interesting, just little event that happened recently that just tells us, sort of indirectly but directly, who he is. One of our directors was giving a report using Excel spreadsheet, and she was a master of it. It was artistic, the way she was going through that. And then it occurred to me that she was a graduate of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And it also occurred to me that Travis Day is a professor at UNC, and he teaches Excel. And so the question was asked of the director, did you have Professor Day for Excel at university? And the simple answer was, I did. And then Travis looked at the director and said, did you make a good grade? And she responded very simply, I did. And then she went on with her artistry on that Excel spreadsheet. Travis Day is an excellent professor. He's an excellent teacher. And he brought that to the school board, and we are going to miss it. Dennis Goodwin has had a career as a Methodist minister, and then he got elevated up during his career to an administrative position called district superintendent. That's quite an honor, and only a very few Methodist ministers get to that level. And there are many principals, central office administrators, teachers that are people of faith, and a lot are their faith is Christian faith. And folks, I'll tell you, and a lot of you know this, in closed session particularly, the board talks about some just gut-wrenching issues with students and with personnel. And people of faith need guidance. And what do the scriptures tell us? What do the scriptures tell us to help us through this situation? Well, Dennis starts talking, and he doesn't quote scripture, but in what he says, you can know that he knows what Jesus Christ would tell you to do to answer a difficult question. And so Dennis doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. And that's going to be missed. I have watched many good board members sit in your chairs and retire. And you two are among the best. You will be missed.
Well, who wants to go after that?
You don't have to.
I did not know Dennis or Travis when I came on this board 6 years ago, and Dennis came 2 years after I did. And Travis and I have spent many, many hours on the phone or in person discussing, because I believed that when I asked Travis a question about something, that he had done his research. And he had done it thoroughly. And I knew that even if we did not agree, that he was going to give me his opinion. And I might listen for 30 or 45 minutes to his opinion. And then we may not agree, but you were never ill about, if we didn't agree on something, he always would say, okay, well, we don't agree on it, but we would walk away and I always knew that Travis had done his homework, and I agree with you. I think Travis is probably one of the best board members that has ever sat up here, and you have taken a lot of grief, but it is because Travis is passionate, and nothing was ever ill-intentioned. He was passionate, and he had done his research, and when he believed what he believed, he stuck his ground, and I want to be more like Travis in that aspect. I always have said I see both sides of every story, probably to a fault, but Travis always sticks to his guns, and that is something that I admire, and that I hope that I can take a little piece of that with me. And Dennis is one of those people. I've had many conversations where you've called, and it's been after a rough meeting or a rough patch, and Dennis always calls and says, I can tell you are off, or I can tell something's bothering you. Are you okay? And he always cares about the well-being of the students and the staff, but he really puts the person first, and I'm going to miss that.
You want to say anything?
Well, after this, I'm sad I don't get to work with you guys.
It could be an honor.
No, I do wish I would have had the opportunity to work with you guys longer, so. Thank you. Thank you for your work here and dedication to the school board.
And I will say one more thing. We're often quiet up here, and we don't say a whole lot during our meetings, but we spend a lot of time together, and a lot of time away from our families and children and significant others, and so we really do become close friends, and we are going to really, really miss you.
Yeah, because we have been through
A lot.
tough days. How about
Yeah.
that? Some hard days. And we are going to miss you, both of you.
Thank you.
And it was always nice to have a preacher on duty if someone needed a prayer.
Yeah.
You were right there, ready to go. But I don't know. We've all been dreading this night, I feel like. But I want to give you both a Atlantic Goose from the 50s made by Joe Mason, who was instrumental in getting Atlantic
Cool.
High School going.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
you're welcome to remember us by.
Oh, I won't be that far away.
Good.
Y'all still
We might
have my
ring you
phone.
up.
I know, you still have my number, so, unless I change it, but I won't.
We'll come find you.
Hey, and I'd also like to welcome Mr. Chambers and Mr. White.
Yep.
Y'all got big shoes to fill.
14s, by the way.
Mine are much smaller.
Bring it real close, real fast.
Yep. So, but thank you all for stepping up. We appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. I guess we're gonna need a motion.
Oh, gosh.
Who's gonna take your place on the motions?
I don't either.
Okay.
I move we go to closed session to consider confidential personnel matters and approve closed session minutes pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11, A1 and 6.
I will second that.
All right, got a motion by Mr. Goodwin, and a second by Mr. Jenkins. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay.